Welcome to the movie version of What If Deku Had Martian Manhunter's powers. Um, as things are, everything's going to be a bit scuffed for a while on my channel until I get this tooth problem fixed. And that'll be about a week until then, so I'm sorry for the dip in quality. Anyways, I know you guys just want to sit here and listen to me explain my life story, so let's just get into the movie. Bye!
Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Johannes' channel, and today I'm gonna be doing the first part of what if Naruto had Martian Manhunter's powers. Let's get into it. Izuku will be watching the All Might video as he smiled doing the whole head bop like he did in canon. Izuku said, "I'm gonna be just like him, Mom." Anko smiled. Later that week, Ezekiel went to the quirk doctor since it was his fourth birthday, as he had an extra joint in his toe. He didn't have a quirk. He wasn't special, he thought to himself. Later, Ezekiel was at school when Bakugo walked up to him. So Ezekiel, word on the block is, you're quirkless. Ezekiel was like, yeah, sadly. As Bakugo said, don't talk to me anymore, as he walked away with his little group of friends. Izuku said, "But Bakugo." Bakugo looked at Izuku and said, huh, "Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are compared to me? You shouldn't even be talking to me. I don't even know quirkless losers like you." Later that week, Bakugo was bullying his kid as Izuku walked up to him. "Why are you being so mean, Kachan?" Izuku cried as Bakugo said, "Trying to be a hero without a quirk, I see. Well, time to get hurt." He rushed at Bakugo. He rushed at Izuku with an explosion fist as he went through Izuku. Izuku was like, "What? What happened?" Bakugo fell onto the floor, which had a rock right there, injuring his knee. The teacher saw what happened and said, "Izuku, why would you hurt Bakugo?" Izuku said, "I didn't mean it." Bakugo, the teachers grabbed Izuku by the arm, calling his mother to tell her what happened. Inko was shocked. The teacher didn't see about his quirk, so he just said he hurt another student bad, and we need you to come pick him up. Ezekiel not Enko nodded, picking him up immediately, with Enko saying, "Ezekiel, why would you hurt somebody like that?" Ezekiel said, "I didn't mean to, Mom." She said, "Cut it. Go to your room." He went crying in his room as his own mother didn't believe him. As he grew up, he realized something was strange with him. He wasn't like all the other kids. He had strange abilities and strange kind of like tendencies. Like when he was being stupid and playing with a knife in a kitchen, he dropped it on his foot, but he felt the sting. It was like a little sting, but he didn't feel the like stabby part. He looked at his uh foot and it was fine. Ezekiel was shocked, grabbing it and saying, "Whoa, I have another ability?" He said before telling his mother he wanted to go to the playground, but secretly he wanted to go to woods to train. Since no one believed him, they wouldn't believe he had a quirk. So over the years, he was self-trained, and he self-trained himself to fight and learn how to fight using videos from the internet of All Might fighting villains. So he copied All Might's moves just a bit. Later at school, Izuku realized he wasn't jacked, but he had like strength. He could lift heavy things. At this point, when Izuku was like 7, he was able to lift the car. I'm gonna say he was able to lift the car. Everyone, Ezekiel was shocked when he found this out, saying, "Oh, I need to keep my strength under control. I could really hurt somebody." He said, probably not using that ability on none of his bullies. Until one day, Bakugo just got on his nerves too much. Bakugo rushed at him as Izuku grabbed his hand Keep in mind, Bakugo still had the explosion fist in hand. Everybody was shocked. Even Bakugo, he was like, "How did you? Don't talk to me no more. If you try to touch me again, I'll kill you." He didn't actually mean it. He just wanted to sound cool. As Bakugo was shocked, "Okay, Izuku," as he was shivering. A couple years later, while they was in middle school, it was kind of easier for Izuku. His mother had just got him into sports. He enjoyed fighting. He had a boxing teacher because he begged and cried and whined to his teacher, mom, and she accepted. She said, "Ezekiel, you can have a boxing coach, but you cannot use the fighting ability on any, and I mean on anybody." Ezekiel nodded. Ezekiel was trained in boxing for about, I'm gonna say, a year. When he got into seventh grade, he had figured out he had found out about his other ability. Ezekiel was shocked when he saw this, as it was like a little. It was like flying. He basically fly. I don't know why I started stuttering. As he started flying, Ezekiel was shocked. He can't incorporate this in his martial arts. Ezekiel started training as he flew up 1 centimeter, probably like a couple meters a day, just so he wouldn't like lose control. He taught himself how to fly by like imagining he had wings and flapping the wings up, which kind of helped him learn how to fly better. Can't explain it, but it just worked for Izuku. In eighth grade, Izuku Izuku was by this time was taller, and he was kind of like Jacker. He had worked out and trained and had a healthy diet throughout his life throughout middle school. So he was basically jacked. I'm not talking about like bodybuilder jack. I'm talking about like Ayana Koji lean built. Lean. Ezekiel for the rest of his eighth grade years, he didn't really do nothing until the last day of school. The teacher walked in and said, "I had these papers on what you wanted to do when you get out of middle school. But I know you all want to be heroes." He threw the papers into the air as everybody started showing off their trashy quirks, lighting them on fire, crumbling them, or whatever. Later, the teacher looked at the paper, saying, "Seems our two of our students will be applying to UA, Midoriya and Bakugo." Bakugo looked at Midoriya, thinking about the day where he told him he was gonna kill him, and he said, "Yeah, right, but I'm gonna be the strongest," which everyone said, "That's a lie." Ezekiel was obviously way stronger than Bakugo. Every um, Ezekiel had super strength. He was super durable. He was jacked. He was pretty much OP. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. He was like OP. Later, Ezekiel was walking home when green mud started to appear out of the sewer. As Ezekiel looked, and he was shocked. He was like, "Oh, what are you?" The sludge villain said, "Give me your body," as he twisted and wrapped himself around Ezekiel's body. Ezekiel went straight through him. As the sludge villain was shocked, he said, What are you?" And Ezekiel said some cringy thing like, "Your worst nightmare." Uh, Ezekiel Ezekiel punched him with all of his strength, blowing the sludge villain back. All Might watching this, he was shocked. This kid was way stronger than he looked. Way stronger than he looked. But All Might came over and collected the sludge villain with Ezekiel like, "Are you All Might? I'm a big fan." All Might was like, "Thanks, kid. I appreciate your support." All Might smiled. Ezekiel smiled and All Might smiled, just as I expected him to be like kind. Uh, All Might grabbed the sludge villain and put him inside a bottle, and then he jumped away. Izuku didn't grab on since he knows he can be a hero, which kind of erased the you know Bakugo sludge villain incident. And over the 10 months, Izuku trained his butt off. I'll say what he trained for each of the months so that y'all know he can so y'all know. Izuku trained in different martial arts like karate and kung fu and boxing, which kind of made him a mixed martial artist. At this point, Izuku's strength was, how would I describe his strength? He could lift a building. I'm just gonna say that he can lift a building. I know y'all gonna be like building, but Martian Manhunter is really, really strong. So yeah. At this point, Izuku, for the first month, he put on a fake mask and went around patrolling the city, and he was considered a vigilante by the news. And yeah, for the second month, he quit the whole vigilante act since he got a gist of what criminals do and what they look like and their body and their and about their look and appearance and how you can judge them on their appearance, like personality wise and edgy wise. Izuku, Izuku. But while the training, Bakugo actually contacted him and said, "Izuku, want to train?" And Izuku said, "Sure, Bakugo, why not?" They went into a forest where they sparred, and Bakugo was getting destroyed. Not gonna lie. Izuku was a better fighter. He used his quirk efficiently, which Bakugo was surprised. And Bakugo said, "I thought you didn't have a quirk when we were younger. How was that possible?" Izuku Izuku said, "I I don't have a quirk." Bakugo's like, all right, dipshit. You don't have to be smart or humble or whatever you're trying to do." Izuku's like, "I'm being honest. I don't have." Izuku, no, scratch that. Izuku said, "All right, if you don't want to believe me, you don't believe me." They continued to spar before going home, before going home, and that's where my part is gonna leave off. I mean, that's where I'm gonna leave it all to Johannes, and bye.
All right, thank you, the director. So where he left off was basically Bakugo asking him to train, and Izuku convincing Bakugo that he doesn't have a quirk. Though obviously that is not true. Bakugo believes him because he doesn't really have a choice. If Izuku won't admit it, well, there's nothing else he can do about that, is there? And so Bakugo, after having asked him to train, getting mollywopped by Izuku, stuff like that, during the 10 months, they actually decide to train together. They actually end up becoming pretty good friends. And that's when, 3 months in, Izuku actually decides to admit to Bakugo that he does have a quirk, but it's like many quirks. And he didn't want to tell people about it because, well, he wanted to keep it to himself. And when it awakened is when he accidentally hurt Bakugo. I believe that's what he said. Sorry, I just watched it, but it's also 6 in the morning, so I'm a bit out of it. Anyways, so Izuku decides to tell Bakugo the truth, and Bakugo is salty that he didn't tell him earlier, but he gets it. Bakugo was too impulsive, but since he's been hanging out with Izuku more, and they've been getting along, that Bakugo actually just decides that it was the right call he made. Bakugo would have tried to fight him way more, been way too aggressive, and done wrong by him. Anyways, then they keep training for the rest of the 10-month time skip to when they get to UA. So they go start the UA entrance exam, and since Izuku is insanely intelligent, he was helping Bakugo study. Bakugo is also smart, so it's not like Bakugo needed it, But like, yeah, they both aced it 100% for both of them. Because if Bakugo had a question, Izuku was using his telepathy. And there they got 100% on their test. Both of them. And so Bakugo and Izuku aced the written exam, easy peasy. Then there's the entire seminar with President Mike explaining how the exam works, and then Ida being a clown. Oh, I did skip Uraraka because they didn't meet yet. And anyways, they get to their training, into their physical exam, where when they get there, since give me 1 second, I have to search something up real quick. Since Izuku has many powers, he decides to use only 2 of them, and one is flight, and the other is... I'm so sorry, I forgot about this. One is flight, and one is psychokinesis. I believe that is the ability to move something. Yeah, okay. So it's telepathy and psychokinesis. What he uses is flying and psychokinesis. And so he actually decides that he is going to just destroy all the robots from the skies. So he goes up really high and he destroys all the 1 and 2 pointers and only leaves the 3 pointers for people to get, so they can get a few points. And President Mike and Aizawa are like, who is this kid? He has 2 quirks and they're that powerful? Oh, we need to think more about him. He's automatically going into 1A. We need to train this kid properly. There's so much potential for him. And so they agree on that, and Izuku is about to just go to the end and just chill there since he got all the points he'll need, when he hears a giant rumbling and he's like, whatever. And that's when he senses it and hears it. A girl in danger. And he instantly gets up and flies as fast as he can. And as it's about to step on her, he uses psychokinesis and he flies down, picks her up, lets go of it, uses his strength, and throws it since he has superhuman strength. And he absolutely knocked it over, and then he used his psychokinesis to crush the robot into a pebble. That's how much he crushed it. That's how angry he was at the robot, because it almost killed someone. And then he realizes, oh, the heroes probably would have came and saved her, but I'm sorry. And then anyways, he's at the end of the exam, and Izuku ends up with, let's say, around 160 points. That's without the rescue points. With the rescue points, he hit about 270. He got a lot of those. And so he tells Bakugo about this, and Bakugo's like, damn it, Izuku. I got some rescue points. I got probably about 30, and I got about 180 total. Izuku's like, damn, that's not bad. And Bakugo's like, I had to move as fast as I could and destroy as many as I could if I wanted to keep up with you, Izuku. And Izuku is just like, well, you weren't too far off, Bakugo. Not this time. You're actually pretty close. You did good. And so Izuku and Bakugo give each other a high five, and then they just go to the park, chill for a bit. Then they both go to Izuku's house and grind some Valorant, some Call of Duty, they just chillin'. They even hop on Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, some gameplay that I'm gonna need to start getting soon. Anyways, so they were having their blast, and anyways, they wait a few days, and eventually they both get their mail, and then they decide to open it together. So Izuku calls Bakugo over. He's like, hey, yo, home dog Bakugo, I'm gonna need you to pull up, my dude. I got my mail, and I already know you got yours because you said so yesterday, and we were gonna open it together. And Bakugo's like, alright, I'll be there soon, Izuku. And Bakugo pulls up, And so they open Izuku's first, and they see All Might there. They're just like, wow. And then it's All Might telling Izuku how well he did and why he got so many points, his rescue points, all that stuff. And so Izuku does perfect, effectively, and Bakugo does great too. And they were really happy that they got this acceptance letter, and they're both going to be in the same class. They can chill out together. And so they both get ready to go to the school, and that's actually is where they were pulling up to the school all cool, you know, relaxing, shooting some b-ball outside the school. And and they pull up, and Ida's there. He's like, "Hi, nice to meet you." They're just like, "Hey," sounding very confused because he's so straightforward and kind of weird. And they both go sit in the back. Bakugo puts his feet up on the desk, and Ida decides to walk up to Bakugo like, "Excuse me, Bakugo Katsuki, will you please remove your feet from the desk?" And Bakugo is just like, "No." He does like, "I have to make sure everybody in this class remains civil." And Bakugo just looks at him like, "Why? You literally aren't class rep or nothing. Literally E-Rel Elf Ant for you, okay?" Yes, I know it's irrelevant. That's a joke. Anyways, they're arguing. Uraraka actually decides to walk up to Deku and thank him for saving her life. And he's like, it's no issue. And he's kind of blushing because he thinks Uraraka's like mad cute. So Deku actually decides that maybe he wants to shoot for her number. So he's like, "Hey, yo, Uraraka, can I cop your number real quick?" And Uraraka is like, "I bet. Hell yeah." And then Deku's like, "Took one day and I already got hoes." I sound ridiculous. Anyways, so Deku cops Uraraka's number, and right after that is when a sleeping bag will stand up, and they all just look at it just like, "Hey, yo, what the fuck?" And Deku's like, "There's somebody in that sleeping bag, our teacher." And everybody's like, "Hey, yo, what do you mean?" And then the sleeping bag slowly unzips, and you just see Aizawa just standing there, and he's just like, "Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first day of class. Took you guys 32 seconds to shut up. Yeah, next time it better be 0. We're gonna go practice your physical exam. We're gonna figure out where you guys are at. And yeah, meet me outside at the training field and get your training gear on. And yeah, alright, see ya." And then he goes and slides back into his sleeping bag and slowly crawls out there. And when they get out there, Aizawa's just like, "Hey, yo, this is where you can use your powers." Because in high school, you guys were forced to just use your regular strength. You couldn't use super strength. You couldn't use telekinesis. You couldn't use anti-gravity. You couldn't use anything. You had to use your actual strength. And so Aizawa passes a ball to Izuku, and it's just like, "Hey, yo, you got the high scores, and out of everybody here, I want you to throw this ball." And Izuku's like, "Alright." And then he looks at Aizawa. He's just like, "1 or 2. Aizawa's like, "What do you mean?" Izuku's like, "I got 2 powers that can throw this ball really far. You just choose which you want, 1 or 2. And Aizawa's like, 2. And so Izuku decides to use his psychokinesis. And that's when he throws the ball and uses his mind to just throw it even higher into the atmosphere. So he gets infinity on his thing. Where Bakugo gets actually about 1,300, where he originally got like 786 or something like that. Anyways, Izuku got tied with Uraraka for the highest score on that. Then it's the rest of the physicals. Izuku has insane stamina, insane super strength. Bakugo does fine, everybody does fine, but Izuku still gets the top score like always. And so they actually finish up on the training for the day, and Aizawa takes them all back to the classroom and is like, Tomorrow you will have another teacher right after me. Just be prepared for another physical type exam. And so they're like, oh, I wonder who this teacher could be. Maybe President Michael. Would that be cool? Or maybe even Mount Lady. She's so hot. What's his name says? Mineta says. And anyways, so the school day ends up ending, and so Deku and Bakugo end up going to Deku's house. Inko makes some supper, they play video games, they chill, and they're like, hey yo, we actually got into UA. Today was actually so fun. And so they decide they're hella excited for tomorrow since they get a different teacher. Maybe this one will be more enthusiastic. So they show up to school the next day, and Aizawa's like, alright guys, you guys have regular classes until after school, which is when you get your hero training. So, alright, here we go. And then throughout the entire school day, they learn math, English, stuff like that. And right at the end of the school day, when it goes into hero training, Aizawa was like, alright, it's time for the new teacher. Here you go. Prepare for your physical exam, and you get your suits. And so, Aizawa was like, I wasn't supposed to spoil that. And so Aizawa ends up running out. Well, not running out, walking out. And next thing you know is you hear, I am here. And it's All Might pulling up, and he's just like, hello, everybody. Ooh, it's nice to see you again, Midoriya. I think I just fucked up my headset. That's unfortunate. Anyways. Everybody just looks at Izuku like, hey yo, you've met All Might? Izuku's like, yeah, kinda. He found the sludge villain who I had knocked the fuck out when he attacked me. And All Might's like, watch the language, young Midoriya. And Midoriya's like, my bad. Anyways, so they continue on. And All Might's just like, so today will be heroes versus villain training exercise. There'll be 2 teams of 2, and you'll be selected as each. Before I get into the details, go grab your costumes. Can't be a hero without one. And so they all go to the wall where all their costumes come out. And Izuku this time has like a cool like cape, and then he has like the weird thing in the middle of his chest. Basically what Martian Manhunter looks like in the thumbnail. Except he doesn't transform into Martian Manhunter. Eventually, they actually finally get out there. All Might explains the rules. So what I'm going to do for the pairs is I'm going to put Izuku and Uraraka on the same team, like in canon. And then I'm going to put Bakugo and Jiro on the same team. Yes, I made the team the love interests of this. Don't judge me. Anyways, so Bakugo actually is like, hell yeah, she actually kind of cute, not gonna lie, hey yo. But Bakugo looks at Izuku, he's just like, hey yo, remember, not full strength because you whoop my ass, alright? That'd just be completely unfair. Choose 2 powers and that's it, please. Actually, just no psychokinesis. But other than that, she's 2 powers. And Izuku's like, okay, Bakugo, I got you. And so, Uraraka's like, what's that about? And Izuku just looks at her and says, like, don't worry about it. And so the test begins, and they enter the building slowly. Oh yeah, Izuku and Uraraka are on the hero team, Bakugo and Jiro on the villain. And the test begins. It's really cool. Izuku goes invisible and slowly walks up all the stairs where he sees Bakugo at some point, but he ignores him. He's like, Uraraka, you got this. And so Izuku slowly gets up to the top. He just lays his hand on the bomb, goes uninvisible, is just like, I touched the bomb, guys. And Bakugo's like, damn it, I forgot he could go invisible. I should have remembered this. And Izuku's like, you said just don't use psychokinesis. You didn't say what I couldn't use invisibility. And Bakugo's like, damn it, I know. Anyways, so after that, All Might was like, "Wow, impressive, young Midoriya." Bro, I know my impression is so goddamn cringy, but like, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. And so, All Might and Bakugo continue. Not All Might. Izuku and Bakugo continue on. They have a chat, and Bakugo actually decides to run back. He's just like, "Hey, Jiro, I thought we were a pretty good team back there. I tried. Izuku's just insanely powerful. Would you mind if I could get your number?" And Jiro instantly starts blushing insanely. It's just like, "Yeah, sure." And she writes it down for him and passes him the paper. It's like, and she's just like squealing inside. Does Bakugo be looking kind of alright in this, alright? And Izuku actually decides to go home with Bakugo. They hang out, and then they both text Jiro and Uraraka. And Izuku is just like, "Hey, Uraraka, would you like to go to the movies or something sometime?" And Bakugo is just like, "Hey, yo, Jiro, would you like to go to dinner sometime?" And within a few minutes, both of them reply yes, because they're hella interested. They think the guys are cute, and the guys think they're cute. They're like, "Hell yeah, ayo, bet." And so, Uraraka, Jiro, Bakugo, and Izuku decide to actually make it a double date. And they all go to like the movies together. And then right after the movies, they all go to dinner together. And so, after this insane date, later on that evening, they all go their separate ways, except Izuku and Bakugo. Bakugo decided he's staying the night at Izuku's house, and Izuku and Bakugo just play video games. They're chatting. They're like, "Hey, yo, bro, we got some cuties." I'm sorry, I went way too high pitched for that. And they're like, "Hell yeah, we get the bitches." Yes, I did that weird slidey thing with my voice on purpose. Anyways. So they end up going back to the school the next day, and that's when Aizawa tells them about the what's it called, when they go to that dome with the black hole hero. Anyways, I forget what it's called, the UA incident. We're just gonna go the location of the UA incident. And so Aizawa explains that they're doing that for some hero training, and that they need permission from their parents for the next day. And so they all get done with that day. It was a basic day, and they go home. They get permission from their parents, blah blah blah. And then we go to the next day. The next day, Izuku and Bakugo both go to school like usual. And they all get on the bus, they arrive, and Midoriya is just like, "How many people are supposed to be inside?" Aizawa was like, "Just a black hole hero." And Izuku is just like, "I'm telling you, it's not just a black hole hero inside there right now. I promise you it ain't." And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I can read minds of many people. There's probably about a solid 50 people in there right now." And Aizawa runs in and he's like, "Hey, are there people supposed to be in here?" And the black hole hero is like, "No." And Aizawa was like, "Oh no." And then he tells the black hole hero to come with him. And then that's when Warp Gate guy, he comes and grabs the black hole hero. He's just like, "Ha ha ha, you're going nowhere." And that's when Izuku actually decides, "Yeah, we ain't fucking with this right now. And I'm not willing to get into an actual fight." So what he does is he gives the Warp Gate guy the most insane headache he could possibly have, and he uses his psychokinesis to grab the black hole hero, and they dip. They tried to catch him, but then Izuku is just like, "All right, I have to do this." And he uses his mind powers to literally just knock them all out. And so they all head back to UA, And they're like, what happened there? That was bad. And Aizawa ends up going to Principal Nezu, I think that's his name, and telling him about the issue of what happened. And Principal Nezu's like, oh no, that's bad. Good thing Izuku was there, or you could have all died. We need to speed up the training, and we need to do it now. And so they say, all right, they're all going into the UA Sports Festival. And so they end up deciding that they're all going and they all want to participate, and it's going to be fun for them all. And so they just wait on the UA Sports Festival for a couple months, I'm going to say. I'm going to push it back a bit. But during this 2-month period is when they meet Todoroki and actually have a conversation with him. And Todoroki, Izuku, and Bakugo were all talking. Todoroki is just this cold guy, like he's being a twat and stuff. And Izuku stomps down with his super strength and says, Todoroki, stop being that emo fuck right now before I beat your ass. And Todoroki is just like, I'd like to see you try. And that's when Izuku uses his mind powers and puts like all the information of like about him, like how strong he quite literally is. And Todoroki is like, fuck, I can't fuck with him. Fire makes him a bit weaker, but can't do much against him. This is not good, not good, not good. And so Izuku is just like, however, I have strength comparable to probably All Might with all my abilities combined. I don't think he could beat me in a fight. So what I will do is I will be training you guys. And so for like a week and a half straight, without stopping, they don't even go home. They call their parents every day to let them know, but they don't go home. They stay out in the woods. And every single day for a week and a half straight, they're training and training and training to the point where Todoroki has finally been forced to use his fire side by Izuku. Izuku's like, first things first, fire isn't only your father's ability, so fuck off with that. Second things second, Todoroki, if you don't use your fire side, you will never become that strong. You get too cold with your ice. Your body is meant to balance it out with ice and fire. So either you use your fire side, or I refuse to train you any longer. And with this conundrum, Todoroki finally decides to agree. He's just like, okay, I guess I'll use. Damn it! And then he shoots a giant fire at him, and Izuku gets significantly weaker, but not quite weak yet. And that's when he goes intangible. So Martian Manhunter has the power to just like walk through things, like he can make himself intangible. That's when he goes intangible and walks towards Todoroki. And once Todoroki's done spewing his flames, he puts his hand on his shoulder. It's just like, you did good, Todoroki. You did good. And so Izuku praising Todoroki like that actually made Todoroki genuinely kind of happy. He started crying because he'd never been praised like that. Not so genuinely. And so Todoroki ends up becoming best friends with Naruto and Bakugo. Not Naruto, Izuku and Bakugo. And yeah, so I think that's actually where I'm going to end up training Todoroki and Bakugo for the UA Sports Festival. And so the training goes pretty well. And when they finally get to the festival, Todoroki and Bakugo are on par with each other. However, Deku, since he was training them, has also made his own powers significantly stronger, especially since both of them are supposedly good against him. And so Deku, it's just like, I've become much stronger myself. Let's put this to the test. And so we're going to go to the first part of the UA Sports Festival. Deku himself decides he's gonna fly across the course. Bakugo is flying and Todoroki's skating. And Deku, since he has extra time, he decides to help everybody else out, and he removes all the landmines with his mind out of the field so they can easily just cross. Then next part is the headband thing, where Deku decides they're all going to be on different teams because it'd be too OP if all three of them were together. And so Bakugo and Todoroki choose to actually be on the same team and going after Deku. And Deku has Uraraka, the guy with the black crow guy, Tsukiyomi, and that girl with a bunch of electronics. I know I'm a bit inconsistent and I'm a bit confused. I'm also running on 3.5 hours of sleep and I'm doing this for you guys. I gotta get this part out. Anyways, so Deku decides that it's his best bet to stay away from Todoroki and Bakugo as much as possible because he's putting a limit to his powers, because if he didn't, he'd absolutely wipe the floor with everybody in attendance. So he decides to limit himself, and it works pretty well, honestly. So Deku decides he's going to take everybody else's headbands, and so he begins to steal headbands left and right until he pulls up to the copy quirk guy. The copy quirk guy copies Deku's psychokinesis, so basically his ability to pick things up and everything. And he tries to use it, but he doesn't have any sort of control over it since Deku's is so powerful. And so he ends up accidentally knocking down all of his teammates and losing the battle there. And Deku ends up finally facing Bakugo and Todoroki. And they start using their abilities. And Deku decides to use his strength to break the ice that Todoroki is sending at him with one punch. The force will break all the ice. And Bakugo's explosion, Deku decides to stop that with his psychic powers. He catches them and throws them all back, actually disqualifying them and getting their headbands. And yeah, so Deku ends up winning the chariot battle. And so we go to the final battles, so like the 1v1s, and it's Deku versus Shinso again. So Shinso is like, so how's your day going, Izuku? And since he can read minds, Deku can, he knows what Shinso's quirk is and what he's trying to do, but he decides to play along with it. So Izuku is just like, I don't know. Seems like your power isn't working too well. Wouldn't you agree? And Shinso's like, what? Impossible. How are you resisting my power? And Naruto explains the fact that he has his own psychic powers and he put up a mental block against Shinso's. And then Izuku is just like, but for your sake and your dignity, I'll let you get through. And so he brought down his mental block and Shinso took over his mind. But then Izuku decides to take over Shinso's and looks at Shinso's, amplifies his quirk times 2, and looks at Shinso and makes Shinso walk off the stage. And Shinso's like, what? I was controlling you. What I'm so confused. What just happened? And Izuku explains that he also has his own mind control powers. He has 7, 8, 9 different powers you can't compete with. And Shinso's like, what? I didn't even know that was possible in a human. And Izuku's like, neither did I until I had them. I was actually diagnosed as quirkless originally. And Shinso was like, what? You were diagnosed as quirkless even though you have so many quirks? And Izuku's like, yeah, I was. And so Shinso is just sitting there dumbfounded. And so we continue on to the Bakugo versus Todoroki fight. They pretty even, and just for the sake of everything, Todoroki and Bakugo both go all out, and Bakugo ends up beating Todoroki. Um, then those are the top three. Naruto being first, Bakugo being second, and Todoroki being third. Yeah, so that's how the UA Sports Festival went. Every hero wanted all three of them. However, um, Endeavor asked for them too. So, Izuku, Todoroki, and Bakugo go to Endeavor's agency. And Endeavor is like, Todoroki, you finally embraced your fire, have you? And then Todoroki is like, yeah, since it's my fire, not yours. Ah, I see, you're dumb being a little twat, aren't you? And Todoroki just looks at him with anger. And Izuku decides to read Endeavor's mind, and he just sees everything Endeavor has done. And Izuku just looks at Endeavor, he's like, wow, this is one villainous dude for a hero. And Izuku says that to Endeavor's face. And so Endeavor decides to actually go after Naruto with a. He's holding back, obviously, but he tries to punch Naruto. And Naruto just stands there, and the punch goes straight through him. And not Naruto, Izuku is just like, you wish. I have the ability of intangibility, so you literally can't touch me if I don't want you to. And Endeavor's like, this is too OP. This is not fair. And so, Izuku, Todoroki, and Bakugo are hanging out. Blah, blah. And they get their entire course done there. And that's when eventually they end up back in UA. They go to the camp. And at this camp, we find the League of Villains pulling up. Where all of them, including All For One, knowing Izuku Midoriya will be there, pulls up. And Izuku senses them all appear. Izuku looks at Aizawa, he's like, they're here. And there's one unbelievably strong. Not even you could take him. And Izuku decides he's going to go fight All For One, while he lets everybody else handle the rest. So Izuku decides he's going to 1v1 All For One. And all the other villains try to stop him, and Izuku just ignores them. And so All For One is just like, let him come. All For One looks at Izuku, and he's just like, I will take your quirks, and there's nothing you can do about it. Izuku just looks at All For One, he's like, I like to see you try. And that just made All For One angry, so he started using all the combos he was using against All Might. And Deku just kept going intangible, so he literally couldn't hit Deku, and then Deku just flew towards him, staying intangible, and then just hit him straight in the face with his super strength, sending him flying towards the ground. That's when Izuku uses his laser beam eyes, and that's when Izuku is just like, you could never beat me, All For One. Also, do you even know who the successor is for One For All? And All For One's like, yeah, it's Mirio, right? 1,000,000. And Izuku just looks at him, he's like, wrong. We kept this a secret, but it is Bakugo. We just made it seem like it was 1,000,000. And All For One is like, what? How? Why? And so Izuku explains that they all knew that you were watching. And since Izuku confronted All Might about everything, since he can read minds, he told All Might this is the game plan they're gonna do. And it worked, because, well, you're here on the ground and you can't do nothing to me. So what's gonna happen now is I'm gonna put these power dampening cuffs on you so you can't do nothing. and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna go to prison. And all for one is just like, damn you, Izuku Midoriya. That's when Izuku runs around to the rest of them, knocking them all out. And they all end up going to prison. And honestly, I think that's going to be the end of the What If in general. Alright, hope you enjoyed the movie version of What If Deku had Martian Manhunter's powers. I did my best in this. I know it's a bit short, but I did put in the effort. I did try my best, so I hope you guys did enjoy it at least. Anyways, that's it for today. Peace!